Hey guys, welcome back to some more videos. The Explorer of Horror here, and today I wanted to get into another ranking video. I haven't done a ranking video in some time, and I've seen the Scream movies, and I was like, you know what? I might as well rank this franchise because there's definitely some controversial opinions in here, and I'll be the first to say that. There's definitely some opinions in here that I'm like, yeah, other lists are probably going to have movies way above other ones. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and have some fun and do another ranking video. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, and I like doing them. And it kind of gives me a chance to, because the rankings are constantly changing. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, that's one that's always changing. But Scream, I don't know if I've done a ranking video yet. I don't think I have. I hope I haven't, because I'm doing another one. But yeah, I wanted to get into this and do another ranking video. I'm going to be ranking from probably worst to best. So there's 6 films. Start number 6 at the worst and go all the way to the best. My favorite Scream movie. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of this series. I do love this franchise. There's certain ones in this series that I really enjoy, in some of my favorite films. So I'm going to be getting to this, and I'm ready to go. Let's get into Scream. But we're going to be starting out at number 6. This is my least favorite Scream movie. I have my list over here to the side. We're going to be getting to number 6, which is Scream 6. Scream 6, I know, was a big, deal when it came out this year, and people were saying it's one of the best ones. To me, it's the worst one. This is, to me, the one that has the most problems. I'm not a fan of this direction. I think it's 2 people, this duo of directors. I think it's Radio Silence. I've given plenty of reasons why I don't like Scream 6 in that Scream 5 and 6 video I did, or stream I did like months ago. But overall, I'm just not a fan of the direction. I'm not a fan of the direction of the story. I'm not a fan of how they do the characters. I don't like the tone of it. The tone doesn't even feel like Scream. It feels very generic, and just the New York setting isn't even used very well. There's been plenty of people that have said it has been used well. I completely disagree with that. I thought Friday the 13th Part 8 did a better usage of New York than Scream 6 did, in my opinion. But yeah, it was really disappointing. It had a lame ending, the worst ending reveal in the series. BS stuff going on with the characters that are surviving, people getting stabbed over and over and over again, and still being alive, even though they got stabbed over and over and over again in the previous film, does not make any sense. Tons of logic issues. I seriously don't understand why these films, 5 and 6, Scream 5 and 6, get so much high praise and get ranked so high on other lists. Don't understand it myself personally. But Scream 6, bottom of the barrel, lazy movie, kind of boring. Kills are nothing except for maybe 1 or 2. There's barely a body count. There's no suspense. There's no laughs. There's no terror. There's no fun to me. It's horrible. Horrible. Scream 6 is at number 5. This shouldn't be surprising, but Scream 5 at number 5. You're going to be hearing a lot of the same things. Some deja vu here. I'm not a fan of the direction in this movie. The only reason why I put it above 6 is because it takes place in Woodsboro. It was cool seeing Dewey come back. It was cool seeing Sidney come back. It was cool seeing Gail come back. It was cool going back to Woodsboro again after so much time. Even though 4 did that, it was cool to go back. It was cool to see everything, because it had been a while before we had seen another Scream movie, 10 years or 11 years, I think. So it was fun going back into it, going back into the world of Scream. But where this movie just goes at a dead halt for me and just stops at like everything it should be as far as Scream goes, it's just the new cast, the characters. I think they're some of the worst characters that you could have picked. They're generic. They're really just nothing to them. nothing to them. And when you don't have good writing and you don't have good characters and your meta-ness is horrible and lame, that's big issues when it comes to Scream. Because Scream is all about that. If you don't get the core stuff right, you're just making another generic horror film. And to me, the characters were all pretty bad, lame, boring. I didn't mind the two leads, Jenna Ortega and her sister. Didn't mind them. But everybody else I thought was lame, unfunny, and just not interesting. They killed Dewey off in a horrible way, make him look like an idiot, which I get it, he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but the way they do the character, the way they treat the character, it's just bad. Bad writing, horrible dialogue, trying to be so goddamn meta, and trying to poke fun at the fans, and saying, well, if you don't like our movie, you're just a toxic fan. Which I'm over here like, wow, what a great way to try to protect your film. Like, I don't know, it's just fucking lame. Just like, really? Now you're going to go after the fans? Well, do you know you're making a bad movie? Is that why? You're over here like, we know this movie sucks, so we're going to go ahead and poke fun at the fans. Yeah, what a great move. Awesome move there. Again, I'm not a fan of Radio Silence, whatever the hell the direction duo's name is. I'm not a fan of the look of Scream 5. I will say this, Scream 6 is very well shot. Scream 5 has this horrible, awful, direct-to-DVD, direct-to-video, low-budget horror film look. It's shot horribly. And that's the thing. Scream is known for the music, for the cinematography, the direction, the writing, for all that. And it's dropped in this movie because you don't have Wes Craven coming back, which is a big problem. Kevin Williamson didn't come back to write. At least I don't think he did. That's a big problem. The score to me was okay. It wasn't bad. I'll say that wasn't bad. It does say Kevin Williamson had a writing credit, but also with two other writers. So I'm not sure how much of the script he wrote. But just a lot of big problems with this movie. I'm not a fan of these two last films, 5 and 6 at all. I'm not a fan of where they're taking the series. Just not a fan. But to get out of that, to get away from all that, let's get into the films I actually like. Because coming in at number 4 on the ranking list is Scream 2. Scream 2, to me, is a very solid sequel. Great follow-up to the first movie. I enjoyed the idea of them all being in college, and we're seeing the characters, moving on in life, and let's see where they're at, and new environment, and meeting new cast members and characters. It was cool seeing everything come back, and I think that out of all the sequels, Scream 2 had the coolest idea for a sequel, because it's a horror sequel, so the rules are going to be based off of horror film sequels, and that is a cool idea to me. It made it very different, stand out, be its own thing. Wes Craven coming back, Neve Campbell coming back, Jamie Kennedy coming back, of course, David Arquette and Courtney Cox. I don't know why I forgot her name, but Courtney Cox coming back. It was cool seeing all these characters again. I thought the different things they tried worked. I may not have been a big fan of the whole theater aspect of, the finale is in the theater, on stage, and the twist is Timothy Olyphant overacting as hell with Billy's mom, who's also the killer, which I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It does have one of the worst twists in the series. I'll give Scream 5 that. Scream 5 excuse me, I can't even talk. Probably has a better twist than Scream 2. Because Scream 2 to me, the twist is kind of lame. It's just like, what? Timothy Olyphant, his acting, he's Billy turned to 100, and I'm just like, oh my god. And there is some weird script things with this film, which is why I don't have it as high as other films where I guess the script got leaked on the internet, and they had to basically go back and rewrite everything. So there is some weird things going on with the script sometimes. I do think the 2 hour runtime, almost 2 hours, I think is a bit long for Scream. I don't know why it's got to be 2 hours. But yeah, I think it's very well directed. It has a good atmosphere of the college. It's cool seeing the college atmosphere. I didn't mind some of the new cast members they had. Overall, Scream 2 is a good sequel. I don't really have very many problems with it. I think it's a good follow-up to the first movie for sure. Coming in at number 3 is Scream 4. Scream 4. This movie came out at the height of remakes and decided to utilize that as a part of its plot. This is one of my favorite ones. These top ones up here, these top 3 on my list are some of my favorite horror films, and this is one of my favorite horror film sequels. I've over the years grown to really, really, really enjoy Scream 4 for the remake aspect, for the brutality. This is the most brutal Ghostface in this movie. Just the knife looks even bigger in this film, like he's carrying a freaking combat knife or something. But just the kills are more brutal, more intense. Ghostface is not messing around in this movie, which is why I don't understand with 5 and 6 people are like, whoa, Ghostface is badass. Like, no, this Ghostface is badass, man. And Scream 4, it's done well. I like the new characters. I like the idea of, okay, we still got the old cast here, but we're bringing in new characters for more films in the future. Wes Craven, this is his last film he made, and it's really sad that he passed away. I think this was the last film he directed. But the film is very well made, very well written. It goes back to what Scream was, and references, and a film kind of for the horror film fans, but also a horror film for people that maybe are just trying to get into horror films. So it does that very well. It's meta without being too much about it and overkilling it. Scream 4, love it. Great one. Another great sequel. Coming in at number 2, though. This is going to be where people are like, what the fuck? Scream 3. Scream 3 comes at number 2. For a lot of reasons. Number 1, I love the idea of it taking place in Hollywood. Such a good idea for the film. It matches, it fits, it works, in my opinion. You have Sydney in there. You have Neve Campbell in there. But she's not the number 1 lead. This is much more of David Arquette and Courtney Cox's film. Cool idea. That's different. Very different. I like that. I like the idea of it taking place on the set of a Stab movie. And people playing the Dewey character and the Gale Weathers character. It was cool. Real cool. The idea of people trying to fight off Ghostface. They grab a knife and it's a prop knife. Or people running through this house and you realize, oh, it's a set, so certain rooms don't even have floors. That was a cool idea. I love the idea of it being one Ghostface killer. That's a cool idea. Very different. I like that standout thing. I do enjoy the twist. I think Roman's twist is a good twist. And I think doesn't hurt anything, adds more to the lore, and honestly just broadens the story a bit more. Did not have a problem with that ending twist. The idea of him being shot, but getting back up. So you're wondering, is this Ghostface supernatural? Is he undead? What's going on here? Is he some kind of... Is this Stu? But I like how it's the usage of the bulletproof vest. The references were pretty funny. You have Jay and Silent Bob in this movie making a cameo. I think you have Carrie Fisher making a cameo in this film as well. A lot of fun references. I thought the references were pretty funny and pretty entertaining. You do have Randy coming back in this film in a small role, which is kind of weird, but I think it was fun seeing him again. Jamie Kennedy coming back as Randy. The music, I love the album. The soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. I enjoyed the music once again. It is very well written by a new writer. I don't think Kevin Williamson came back to write this film because I think he was busy doing other things. So it was written by Aaron Kruger, who I thought did a pretty good job for replacing Kevin Williamson, what he was doing before. I thought this film was pretty well written. I don't know, it's always been my favorite of the sequels. It's just very unique, very different. The idea of the voice changer being anybody's voice so that he can play around with the psychology of things. This Ghostface is not messing around either. He's exploding places. He's doing this all on his own, which is pretty crazy. I really enjoy Scream 3. I don't know why it gets so much hate. I don't understand it. It goes for more of a Scooby-Doo vibe. It fits to me. The finale taking place in a mansion, not the ghost mansion, but like the sort of spooky looking mansion. You could say it's like Scooby-Doo. It's fun. It's real fun. It's entertaining, and it's just it's the one that I've always enjoyed out of the sequels the most. I love part 2, I love part 4, but 3 has always been my favorite of the sequels. Somehow, some way, Scream 3 is at number 2. Of course, number 1 being my favorite, one of my favorite horror films of all time, the original Scream. I grew up with this film. I had the old school VHS tape with all the really cool old school commercials on it. I think for Blockbuster and stuff. And yeah, Scream 1, I rewatched it not too long ago, and it honestly is a pretty scary film at times. It's an intense movie. And, I mean, there's not really much else I can add to what everybody else has said about Scream. It's just like, it's like I said, it's very well written, very well done. Wes Craven directing this movie does a great job. Very unique look for horror films at the time. This is a time when horror was dead. There wasn't really much going on in the horror film realm at the time as far as big hits go. But the look of this movie, the cinematography, the writing by Kevin Williamson, this movie has a bunch of elements that films later on would take from. Even Halloween H2O. This film is so influential that Halloween took from this movie. It's funny because this movie pays tribute to Halloween. Halloween ended up taking some of the stuff from this movie, so it's pretty crazy how that works. But yeah, it's a cool idea of a film being for the horror fans. You know, people talk about horror films and, you know, oh, I work at a video store, and, you know, Randy worked at the video store. Very, you know, cool idea. And the references are cool, the Easter eggs. The kills are pretty brutal, honestly, in this first movie. The effects are pretty good. The like I said, just the writing, the characters, the cast. It's just all around a great film, and I definitely think it is one of the best horror films of all time. It's a bit underrated nowadays. People say it doesn't really age well. I think it aged pretty good. But yeah, I don't really have any problems with the first Scream. It's a great one. Classic. Really enjoy it. Got a great cast. Well directed and written. Just overall, a great film. But anyways, that's going to do it for our ranking of the Scream movies. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to comment your guys' ranking of the franchise, feel free in the comments below. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good night. The Explorer 4 is out. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Peace.